The moment her laugh echoed from the speakers, something in me broke. Not shattered. No, not instantly. It cracked, the way a glass does when you pour boiling water in too fast. Subtle. Spreading. I stood behind the bar, wiping down a glass I didn't even remember picking up, and there it was, her voice, smooth and venomous, laced with fake charm and real malice. "He won't even notice I moved the money," she said, then laughed. "He doesn't even know his password." Her lover, some slick-haired wannabe alpha named Brett, chuckled like a damn idiot. "You're a genius, babe." And I just stood there, still, numb, listening to the woman I gave 11 years of my life to. Ashley. Casually tell the man she was cheating on me with that she stole from me. In my bar. Into my cameras. Using my money. That was the moment I stopped being her husband. I rewound the footage again. Just to be sure. Just to be sick. I didn't need to. It was her voice. Her ugly little smile. That tight red dress I bought her for our anniversary last year. She wore it for him. In my bar. At my expense. The same way she wore everything I gave her and used it to humiliate me. She didn't know I installed new security cameras 2 weeks ago after that break-in next door. She didn't know they had audio. She didn't know I was watching. And she sure as hell didn't know I'd make her regret every smug syllable she uttered that night. I waited 24 hours. Long enough for her to spend the night at Kelly's house. A lie she'd used so many times I had stopped asking questions. Long enough for Brett to leave town for a conference. Long enough to change every damn password tied to my accounts. Long enough to clear the joint accounts she thought were hers. Long enough to have her car towed, because I owned it. Long enough to file the paperwork. To call her boss. To erase every trace of her from everything she thought she was entitled to. And I left her one password. Just one. Start from zero. I taped it to the fridge. When she came home the next day, Ashley found a silent house. No keys on the hook. No car in the garage. No ring on the table. Because I took mine off and crushed hers with a hammer before leaving. She found the fridge door open, a note taped to the milk carton she always drank straight from like a damn college frat boy. She called 36 times. I watched the calls come in while sitting in my truck, engine running, my best friend Marcus in the passenger seat, just shaking his head and muttering, "Bro, this is some movie *T. It was a movie, just not the kind she was directing anymore. I didn't answer the phone. Not once. She left messages, voice cracking from fake confusion to full-blown panic. First it was, "Baby, what's going on?" Then, "I think someone hacked us." And finally, "Where is everything?" Answer me, Aiden. You don't come back from betrayal like that. You don't unhear those words. You don't forgive the moment your wife brags about screwing you financially and literally while tossing back drinks with a man who couldn't spell loyalty if you tattooed it on his chest. She underestimated me. She thought I was too soft, too distracted, too trusting. She didn't realize I owned the building, the bar, the bank accounts, the business. And now, I own the silence. Because after all the chaos, all the screaming voicemails, all the texts, she finally sent one message. Just one word. "Why?" And I sent back the recording. The audio of her saying it. That laugh. That little evil snort she made right after. And a reply. "Because I heard you. In my bar. On my camera. With my money. Now go live with your new man. Let's see if he knows your passwords." She left town that night. Or tried to. Next morning, I got a text from Marcus. Photo attached. Ashley. Sitting on the curb outside Brett's apartment. Crying. He didn't let her in. Turns out, I wasn't the only one she lied to. And that was just the beginning. The morning after she got locked out of Brett's place, I went back to the bar early, before opening. I needed air. I needed something real, wood floors, old whiskey, the hum of the neon sign. Something that hadn't lied to me in years. My phone buzzed again. Another message from her. She'd switched tones now. No more threats, no more fake panic. Now it was guilt bait. "You never even gave me a chance to explain." Explain? Explain what exactly? That she thought I was dumb enough not to notice the missing 10 grand? That she laughed about it to some slick clown who probably couldn't hold down a job longer than a weekend shift? That she weaponized my trust, drained my accounts, and screwed me in the same building where I built a life for us? She'd get her chance. But not now. Not when I was still shaking from the rage I'd buried so deep even I didn't realize how thick it ran. I started watching footage from the past month. Every time she said she was going to Kelly's, I found Brett's car in the lot. Found them tucked into that corner booth, legs entwined under the table like teenagers. I saw the way she smiled at him, playful, unfiltered, nothing like the hollow glances she gave me at home lately. She had checked out long before I noticed. Looking back, it was all there. The way she stopped waiting up for me. The way she got too tired when I reached for her in bed. The way she flinched when I touched her, like I was some inconvenient chore she had to tolerate. Every man's got a threshold. Mine had been pushed, pulled, spit on. And now it was gone. Later that day, I got a visit. Marcus had stopped by to check in, but he wasn't alone. Turns out, Brett had a girlfriend. Long-term. Lived with her, even. Her name was Haley, and she had just found out about Ashley thanks to Brett's unlocked phone and some poor attempt at hiding messages under fake names like Steve from work. She'd driven 2 hours to find me. I didn't know her, never met her, but the moment we made eye contact, I saw it. That same look. Hollowed out disbelief. Anger bottled so tight it makes your ribs ache. Eyes that scanned the room like they were still looking for a way this could all be a dream. We sat in the back of the bar, and for 20 minutes, we just traded stories. Her voice trembled when she told me about the vacations she paid for while he was working overtime. I laughed bitterly when she mentioned how Brett bragged about landing a sugar queen who'd fund his business ideas. It was like comparing scars with someone after a crash. By the end of the conversation, we both knew something the other didn't. She had copies of Brett's texts, everything. Names, times, plans. And I had the recordings. Footage. Paperwork. It was the perfect storm. I don't know what snapped inside of me next, but I told her to wait at the bar. I drove home. Ashley was there. Of course she was. Sitting on the porch like a washed-up actress waiting for someone to cast her again. She looked up when she saw me, mascara smudged, hoodie pulled over her designer top. Trying to look pathetic. Play the part. Aiden, she stood. I need to talk to you. Please. I walked right past her. She followed me into the house. I made a mistake, she said, voice trembling. He meant nothing. I just felt alone, and I didn't know how to talk to you anymore. Oh. I turned around, calm like a loaded gun. So you stole money because you were lonely? Her face twitched. I didn't steal. You bragged about it, I snapped. In a bar I own. On cameras I paid for. You said I didn't even know my own password. I built this life for us, and you laughed about gutting it like a *****ing joke. She stepped back. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just stared. That car you drove? Gone. The account? Emptied. You want to know what's left, Ash? She opened her mouth to respond, but I didn't give her the space. Nothing. Except a note on the fridge and a password to start from 0. She froze. You didn't have to destroy everything. You already did. That was the first time I saw something real in her eyes. Not guilt. Not regret. Fear. She realized I wasn't bluffing. I wasn't the same man who'd smile through her lies or nod during her excuses. That man died behind the bar the moment her laugh echoed through those speakers. And I had just begun to live. Ashley stood in the hallway, her mouth hanging slightly open, like she couldn't figure out how things had flipped on her so fast. She looked around the house, maybe hoping something had survived. A photo on the wall, a pair of her heels by the door, a jacket she forgot to steal on her way out of our marriage. But I'd already scrubbed everything. No traces of her. No reminders. You don't mean this, she finally whispered, her voice soft and deliberate, the way she used to talk to me when she wanted something. We can fix it. I let out a dry laugh. It was ugly, even to me. Fix it. I repeated. You laughed while you burned it down. She took a step toward me. I know I messed up. I was stupid, okay? I thought Brett could. I don't know. Help me escape. Escape from what, Ash? A man who trusted you? A life where you never had to pay for anything? A home? Stability. She didn't answer. Of course she didn't. She just stood there, looking at me like she was waiting for the old Aiden to show up. The one who forgave too easily. The one who believed her stories. The one who still saw her as the girl he married and not the stranger he'd recorded with another man's hand on her thigh. I turned away and grabbed the envelope from the kitchen counter. Divorce papers. Already signed on my side. I didn't hand it to her. I placed it gently on the table. Sign it. Or don't. Doesn't matter anymore. You're already gone. You're just going to erase me, she said, her voice cracking now. After everything? I stared at her. You erased yourself. Then I walked past her again. This time, I didn't look back. Back at the bar, Haley was still there. She'd made herself a coffee, sitting in the corner booth like she belonged there. She glanced up when I came in and gave me a nod. No sympathy in her eyes, just understanding. You okay? She asked. No, I said, sliding into the booth across from her. But I will be. She nodded slowly. You want him to feel it too, don't you? Every second. Then we do this together. She handed me her phone. A full list of screenshots. Brett had been talking to 3 other women while he was with Ashley. One of them? Married. Another? Haley's cousin. The guy was a walking landfill. What do you want to do? I asked. She smiled. Not cruelly. Calmly. Like a woman who'd waited a long time to stop being polite. I want to make sure every woman he's ever lied to sees the real him. I want his world to fall apart one brick at a time. And Ashley? Haley shrugged. Let her follow him into the wreckage. Or crawl out alone. Doesn't matter to me. It was strange. Sitting across from someone who had every reason to disappear, but chose to fight instead. I didn't even know her 3 hours ago, and now she was the only person I could talk to who truly got it. We planned for hours. By the end of the day, Brett's girlfriend list had received a lovely little gift, a shared Dropbox folder titled, Who You're Really Dating. Inside, screenshots, audio clips, the bar footage. We didn't say anything, just let the facts speak. By the next morning, he was radioactive. His phone was blowing up. Every burner account Ashley ever used to text him had been exposed. Every woman had blocked him. His job found out he was misusing company funds. Haley had proof. He was suspended, pending investigation. Ashley tried to call him 28 times. I know because he texted her a screenshot of all her missed calls with one line. We're done. You ruined everything. She showed up at the bar again that night. Tried to play the victim. Tried to get inside. But I had changed the locks. She banged on the glass door, mascara running, screaming that she had nowhere else to go. I didn't mean to fall for him, she shouted. It just happened. What do you want from me? I looked at her through the window. Calm. Empty. You're not getting back in, I said. Not here. Not ever. You're heartless, she screamed. No, I said. I just finally started listening. And I turned off the lights. It's been a week since I cut her out, and the silence is louder than any argument we ever had. I still hear echoes, her laugh in that recording, her voice asking for chances she didn't deserve. I see her every time I walk past the closet that used to be filled with her clothes, now empty like the promises she made. It's like the walls remember, even if I'm trying not to. Ashley hasn't stopped texting. She alternates between anger and desperation. 1 hour it's, you'll regret this. The next it's, can we at least talk? I don't answer. Not because I don't want to. Because I do. Because the part of me that still loved her wants to know why. Wants closure. But I've learned something. Closure is a lie people tell themselves so they can keep a door half open. I'm not doing that. Brett, on the other hand, didn't handle things so quietly. 2 days ago, he showed up at the bar drunk. Alone. Slurring. Tried to push his way in through the back. Let me talk to you, man, he said, stumbling. She told me you didn't care about her. That you were cold. I didn't say anything. Just let him spiral. She said you were just some boring guy. That she felt dead inside with you. I leaned against the doorframe and watched him. Then why'd she steal from me to be with you? That shut him up for a second. He took a long breath, wiped his mouth. Look, I didn't know she was married. Not at first. But you stayed anyway, I said flatly. She said she was leaving you, he muttered. Said she just needed help. Help. That word again. She used it like a weapon. A rope to drag people into her mess. And they always followed, thinking they could save her. Fix her. Be her lifeline. But Ashley didn't want saving. She wanted attention. Control. A constant rotation of people to feed her ego while she burned everything behind her. I looked him in the eye. She used you, Brett. Just like she used me. He laughed bitterly. Yeah. I figured that out when she tried to crash at my place after you froze her out. My girlfriend found her hiding in the laundry room. I raised an eyebrow. She broke in. He nodded. Said she had nowhere else to go. My girl almost called the cops. I exhaled. A long, heavy breath that felt like it had been sitting in my chest for weeks. She's spiraling. You think she'll hurt herself? I shook my head. No. Ashley doesn't want to die. She just wants everyone to panic like she does. He paused. So what now? I stepped forward, close enough to smell the regret on him. Now? You go home. Block her. And pray she never finds you again. He didn't argue. He just nodded and walked off into the night, shoulders hunched like a man who finally realized the fire he danced in wasn't just warm. It was real, and it burned. Later that night, I found a letter on my windshield. Folded. No envelope. I didn't need to open it to know who it was from. But I did anyway. It was messy, scribbled like she wrote it between panic attacks. She talked about her childhood, about how I was the only one who ever gave her peace, about how she didn't know why she kept ruining things. Then she wrote something that stuck with me. I don't miss the money. I don't miss the car. I miss being someone you loved. Because when you loved me, I almost believed I was worth something. Almost. Even in the end, she couldn't say she was sorry. Couldn't take responsibility. It was always almost. Always just short of honest. I didn't respond. I burned the letter behind the bar. That night, I sat in the corner booth where she used to meet Brett. I poured myself a whiskey, one of the good ones I used to save for celebration. And I toasted. To my broken heart. To the lies. To the silence that finally meant peace. And I swore, whatever came next, I'd never be that blind again. A few days passed without a word from her. No calls, no texts, no sudden appearances outside the bar. Just quiet. And that scared me more than the drama. People like Ashley don't go silent. Silence isn't surrender for them, it's strategy. I started locking the bar doors twice at night, watching the cameras more closely, checking over my shoulder when I left the house. Then it happened. I came home one evening and saw the living room window cracked open, just enough to set off something in my gut. I knew I hadn't left it like that. I walked in slowly, keys tight in my hand, like brass knuckles. Nothing was broken. No signs of a break-in. But something was off. The smell hit me first. Her perfume. That overly sweet, cloying scent she bathed in before a night out. The kind that used to turn me on. Now it made my stomach turn. I moved toward the bedroom. The closet was open. Half my shirts were gone. I checked the safe behind the bookshelf, still locked. But the floorboard near the nightstand was shifted just slightly. That's where I used to hide an old lockbox. One she didn't know about. Apparently, she did now. I opened it. Empty. The lockbox wasn't for money or valuables. It held something more dangerous, my journals. Letters I wrote to myself after her first betrayal, long before Brett. Memories I wasn't ready to admit to anyone else. A raw archive of pain. She'd read them. I could feel it. She wanted to use them. I should have burned them long ago. The next day, I got an email. No subject. No name. Just an attachment, a scan of one of the pages. A letter I wrote after our second anniversary, when I started suspecting she was lying about where she went on weekends. And below the image, how would your little bar friends feel if they knew you cried like AB*TCH over me? Or should I read more? She was trying to blackmail me with my own words. She didn't want me back. She wanted control. One last grip on my throat. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I closed the laptop. I wasn't going to play her game. Instead, I called Haley. She picked up on the second ring. What happened? She broke into the house. Took my journals. She's threatening to expose them. There was a pause. Then, you want me to take care of it? I didn't ask what she meant. I just said, yes. That night, we met up at the bar. I handed her copies of the letters, the same ones Ashley stole. If she leaks them, leak the rest. Everything. All her messages. Her bank moves. The footage. No context. Just full exposure. Haley nodded. If she wants war, she'll get scorched. It was strange how close we'd become, bonded by shared wreckage. Neither of us wanted revenge for the sake of bloodlust. We just wanted the truth to matter again. The next morning, Ashley sent another email. Different tone this time. I didn't mean to scare you. I was just hurt. You pushed me out. What did you expect? Still no apology. Still the same deflection. I didn't answer. Haley did. She used Ashley's own words, screenshots, voice clips, images, sent them all to Ashley's sister, her boss, and her mother. We watched the dominoes fall. That afternoon, her sister called me. She showed up crying, screaming that you were trying to destroy her life. She's losing it. She destroyed it herself, I said. By sunset, I got one final text from Ashley. Just 2 words. You win. But that's the thing. This wasn't about winning. It was about surviving her. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt clean. For the first time in years, I stood behind my bar, looked around, and didn't see ghosts. Didn't feel eyes watching me from the shadows of my memories. The space was mine again. And so was I. That night, I sat at the counter with Haley, both of us nursing quiet drinks. You think she'll disappear now? She asked. I shrugged. Probably not. But I don't care anymore. She looked at me. So what now? I didn't know. But I smiled for the first time in months and said, now, I start from zero. For real this time. The next morning felt strange. Clean, like a storm had finally passed. The air was still heavy, but it wasn't choking me anymore. For the first time in weeks, I didn't check my phone the second I woke up. No anxiety clawing at my chest. No wondering what kind of chaos Ashley was going to hurl at me before noon. Instead, I made coffee. Real coffee. Not the instant garbage I'd been drinking because everything else tasted bitter lately. I sat at the kitchen table, in a house that felt like mine again, and just existed. It hit me in the middle of the silence. I hadn't cried. Not once. Not when I saw the footage. Not when she stole from me. Not even when she tried to ruin me with the most personal, broken things I ever wrote down. I think it's because I'd cried long before any of that. Back when I'd sit alone in bed while she was working late. Back when I'd make dinner and watch it go cold waiting for her to come home. Back when I asked her if she was happy and she looked me dead in the eye and said, yeah, just tired. Like she hadn't already checked out. Those moments. That's when I mourned her. This was just cleanup. At noon, I got a call from Marcus. You alive, man? Barely, I said, smiling. But yeah. You hear about Ashley? I paused. No, and I don't need to. Well, you're about to. Her mom posted some long cryptic thing on Facebook about betrayal and losing a daughter to her own ego. Comment sections, a war zone. I didn't open it. Didn't need to. Ashley wasn't my problem anymore. She was just the ghost of who I thought I loved. Still, there was one last thing I had to do. That evening, I went back to the house one more time. The place I had let her call home while she slowly dismantled me behind my back. I gathered up the last few items she hadn't bothered to take or steal. A few photos. Some old clothes. Jewelry I bought her for anniversaries that she probably thought was cheap because it didn't come from some high-end store. I put it all in a box, and I drove it out to the edge of town, to a little patch of land where the woods start to take over and the silence feels holy. I didn't say anything. Didn't think of any symbolic ritual. I just doused the box in lighter fluid and lit a match. It burned fast. Cheap fabric, old paper, framed memories turning to smoke like they never mattered. And as I stood there, watching the flames rise, I realized something. She never broke me. She bent me, yeah? Twisted me into someone small, quiet, almost unrecognizable. But she didn't break me. She couldn't. Because the part of me she tried to kill, the part that believed in love, in loyalty, in real connection, that part never died. It just went into hiding. And now, it was back. Later that night, I got a message from Haley. You good? I replied, yeah. Free. There was a long pause before she answered. Same. I don't know where her story goes from here. Don't even know if ours will ever overlap again. But for now, we were two survivors on the same page. And that was enough. For anyone who's been through it, really through it, you know the worst part isn't the betrayal. It's the self-doubt. The nights you wonder if you somehow caused it. If you missed something. If you were too much or not enough. If loving someone blindly made you the fool. But here's what I learned. You're not the fool for loving. They're the fool for thinking your love was something they could toy with. And when they finally lose it, they realize too late. It was the only real thing they ever had. A few weeks went by, and life started to smooth out. Not perfectly. Nothing's ever perfect after something like that. But the edges of the pain started dulling. I got back into a rhythm. Opened the bar on time. Rebuilt my playlists. Even started chatting with regulars again instead of just nodding behind the counter with dead eyes. The biggest shift? I stopped expecting her to walk through the door. That tension in my chest, that brace for impact feeling, gone. I stopped looking at every message notification like it was a bomb. I stopped imagining her on the other end of every phone call from an unknown number. I started breathing again. Then, one afternoon, Marcus pulled up in his truck and walked straight through the front door without knocking. Bro, he said, shutting it behind him. I just got off the phone with Kelly. I blinked. Ashley's alibi friend Kelly? He nodded, face tight. She's pregnant. But it's not hers. I stood there. What? She said Ashley called her last night. Drunk. Said she might be pregnant. And not by you. By Brett. I didn't move. Apparently, Ashley told her she's not sure if it's Brett's or someone else's. Marcus added, There's someone else, man. My jaw tightened. Of course there is. Marcus rubbed the back of his neck. She told Kelly she doesn't have the money to raise a kid alone. She was thinking about reaching out to you. I laughed. Cold. Empty. Of course she was. Marcus sat down. What are you gonna do? Nothing. You sure? I looked him in the eye. I'm not the father. I know that. She hasn't touched me in months. She only touches things she can take. He didn't argue. There was no point. Ashley would always be searching for someone to fix her mess. And when she couldn't find one, she'd start digging into the past, hoping someone still cared enough to rescue her. But that version of me, the one who would have hesitated, would have taken her back, would have doubted himself for her mistakes. He's gone. Later that night, I sat in the bar after close. Lights low, whiskey in hand. I kept thinking about the phrase Ashley used in her letter. I miss being someone you loved. That hit me harder than I wanted to admit. Because, for a long time, I did love her. Not the woman she became. Not the manipulator or the liar or the thief. But the girl she used to be. Or maybe the girl I imagined she was. Back when I thought love was enough to make someone stay decent. And now? Now I love the silence. I loved knowing where my money was. I loved that when I came home, I didn't feel like I was stepping into enemy territory. I didn't need a new woman, a rebound, a distraction. I needed me. Fully, unapologetically, finally mine again. That night, I deleted the last thread of her, an old photo in my phone, buried in a forgotten album. Us on a beach. Her in sunglasses, head on my shoulder. Me, smiling like I had everything. I didn't. I had her. And she was nothing. So I let the picture go. And the weight lifted. The last message she ever sent me came 3 days later. If it is yours, you'll regret not being there. I didn't reply. Because I knew the truth. She would always need someone to blame. But I finally knew better. And the peace that came with that was louder than all her chaos combined. It's been 3 months now. 3 months since I saw her face. 3 months since I heard her voice dripping with manipulation. 3 months since I finally, truly, chose myself. The bar's busier these days. Funny how peace attracts people. I think maybe they can feel the difference. How the energy in here isn't bitter or tense anymore. It's clean, solid, safe. Like I stripped out all the poison she left behind and built something real from the ashes. Sometimes I catch myself staring at the door, expecting her to walk in with that fake innocent look she used to wear like armor. But she never comes. And I'm starting to believe she never will. Thank God. I still hear rumors. That she moved in with a friend. That she's burning through whatever bridges she had left. That Brett moved across the country and blocked her on everything. That the pregnancy was just another trick. Maybe even real for a while, but never mine. I don't care. Not anymore. It's strange, the way pain can make a man sharper. The way betrayal teaches you to see. I see things now. Red flags. Little lies in people's eyes. The shift in tone when someone's about to use you. I don't fall for it anymore. I don't bend. I don't apologize for holding boundaries that should have always been there. And I don't hate her. Not anymore. Hatred is a leash. It keeps you tied to the fire even after the building's collapsed. I walked away from the wreckage. Not because I forgave her, but because I outgrew her. The last box of our memories. I burned it last weekend. No music playing. No drink in my hand. Just me, a fire pit, and a decision. There was one photo I almost kept. Our wedding. I stared at it for a long time. Me in that suit. Her in white, pretending to be someone clean. I looked so sure of her in that picture. So blind. But instead of tearing it up, I tossed it in whole and watched it curl and blacken. That was my funeral for the man I used to be. And now? Now I'm starting from zero. Not because I lost everything, but because I finally cleared the space to build something real. So if you're reading this and you've been there, if your heart's been gutted by someone who smiled while they did it, let me tell you something. You're not broken. You're not stupid. You're not weak for trusting. You were brave. Brave enough to love with your whole chest in a world where people play games with hearts like they're toys. They lied. They cheated. They stole. But you? You survived. And somewhere out there, your peace is waiting. Don't look back. Let it burn. And start from zero.